These are my main tools that I use for my outlines: a 0.3 mechanical pencil, a mono eraser, and a kneaded eraser. I also use a 2H pencil for the beginning outline since it's lighter. Using my 2H pencil, I start up my portrait outline by drawing 2 horizontal and vertical lines, each going through the center of the paper. I draw this on my drawing paper and the reference, then I estimate where the large features of the reference would go on the drawing. Here I'm estimating the placement of her head and where the end of her chin would be, as well as the basic shapes of her eyes. It's okay if it's not exact or if it doesn't look like the person yet. This is only an estimation, so you have something to go off of when you add details later. The main reason I do the estimations first is so I know that I can fit the reference on the drawing paper. So it takes up enough of the paper and the drawing isn't super small compared to the paper size. Now I'm drawing the detailed shape of the eye, creases, and where the shadows would go. The cross that is on my reference and the drawing is a reference point to help me with the proportions. I use this cross by relating the distance between that line and different parts of the eye so I know it's the right shape and size. I use the same process for the other eye. I notice the cross is exactly between her eyes, so I match that on the drawing. Once you're satisfied with the placement of both eyes, you can move on to the nose. While you're making the detailed outline, it's extremely helpful to have that mono eraser. It's the little tiny one, it's like a pencil eraser, and a kneaded eraser handy because I constantly change stuff or use the eraser to clean up lines, and I just find it really helpful. Now that I have the eyes where I want them to be for now, I use the eyes as my new reference point for drawing the nose. As you can see, I prepare for drawing the nose by making 2 diagonal lines to show where the bottom of her nose would go, then 2 vertical lines to show where the sides of her nose would be. First, I draw these lines on the reference, then the drawing. I draw a line from the edge of her nose to her eye, and for this picture, that side of her nose is right below the tear duct on both sides. This helps you draw the nose the correct size based on the size you drew the eyes. Now I'm drawing the detailed outline of her nose using those lines as a guide for where to place it. Once you have the basic shape, you can erase the reference lines. I had realized I forgot to draw the other eyebrow, so I went back to do that. Now I'm going back to her nose outline to give it more fine-tuning and add more details. Here I go back to fine-tune the details on her nose and to fix a couple things. So it's always okay to go back and add more details or to change something. To draw her lips, I use the same process as the nose. I go to the reference and draw a line from the edge of her mouth up to her eye to see what part it lines up with. Then I go to the drawing to do that same line in the same spot compared to the reference. Once I know the area where the lips are placed, I begin to draw the outline. Here I'm finishing up details and adding where shadows would go on the drawing, and I'm adding her final chin outline and fine-tuning her other features and fixing some of the placement. To finish the outline, I draw in her sections of hair and where the curtain goes over it. And I do it in multiple small pencil strokes, so like not one line, because it gives it more of a realistic look. And then add final details and you're done with your outline.